Welcome to another conversation in 33 Conversations podcast. I'm your host, Michael Abney, and today I am really happy to have our guest on today, Brandon Mustful, and you run Mustful Strategic Consulting. Where are you located at, Brandon?
Yeah, I'm in Bemidji, Minnesota. It's in northern Minnesota.
How long have you been up there?
I have been here for about 13, going on 14 years.
So it's really connected to the community. Tell me what you're, how's the last couple of weeks been for you? With everything that's happening in the world and how that's impacting who you are.
I mean, it's been great. It's winter has hit us hard. It's very cold, below zero now at night. And I've been doing some extra seasonal work that is actually pretty exhausting, but that's been fun. We had our chamber gala last night. That was awesome. I'm a member of the Bemidji Area Chamber of Commerce, and as you mentioned, connected in the community, know a lot of people, and so yeah, it's an annual celebration that we have. Business and community leaders come together, and we celebrate, and we had a great speaker, at the event, some awards that went out. So that was really good, and obviously we're going into the holiday season as we're recording this. So
yeah,
just a lot to think about with family and friends and how we can support them in this time, and going a little beyond just buying gifts, for them.
Exactly. So it's amazing. It's like a light switch goes off, and then there's just this automaticness about us that it gets hurried and rushed, and I don't have time, and I'm busy, which is sort of true, but at the same time, I'm down in St. Louis. The winter kicked in here last week too. It's like, oh man, I was not expecting this. So it's just like, oh God, here we are again. But I appreciate you being here today with me. We met a couple weeks ago on our pre-call, and I just really like your journey about how you got to where you're at with what you're doing. But also the part for me that stuck out was the part about your journey with service and being in service with Habitat for Humanity and Peace Corps. Share a little bit with me about how that spark of service, because I hear conversations about nonprofits and that whole world is really struggling right now. And I thought that today we could just have an amazing conversation about, really what service is. And I thought a great kickoff of how that spark happened to you, that you took that path.
Yeah, it definitely has been a journey, and it started with just saying, I want to serve others. But it really didn't go any deeper than that for me. That's all I knew is I want to serve others, and that's when I joined the Peace Corps, and that was a great adventure. From there, I was with the Salvation Army. I ran an organization here in Bemidji called Great River Rescue, so that's an animal shelter, and I worked with Habitat for Humanity as well. And these are all nonprofit community development type organizations. But as I've been on that journey, I have learned a lot about myself and what I mean by I want to serve others. And I've also learned a lot about selfishness and the fact that a lot of things that we do sometimes is really more selfish than we understand. You really have to take a step back and think about, why am I doing this? Who is this for? Sometimes when you really think about it, it's more about the gratification that you get from it. It's more about just doing kind of what you want to do, and service needs to go beyond that. It needs to be about really listening and hearing someone else, and how you can support them. And it's not about doing things for other people. People are capable of a lot themselves. Like I said, it's about supporting them and walking with the journey together with them, and then you grow in the process as well. So it's like you're being unselfish, but you gain a lot in return.
And there's a whole world of conversation that happens inside of what you just said. That's really profound, that the contrast between serving and selfishness. Is this something that you see with, how does that mirror back into your own experience? And what did you gain from that? Seeing that. Because I think a context that a lot of people have about serving is that, there's a less than, a more than, and you're there to, serve. But then what I'm hearing you say is that you see a connected tissue that also is at play with something that you're working with. As
Right,
part of what you work with.
yeah, and I think I mentioned this when we had our conversation earlier about going to the Peace Corps, and I was in rural Paraguay, and one of the main things I learned is that people are pretty much the same no matter where you go. You might have different perspectives, different cultures, different attitudes, things like that. But at our core, we're very much the same. And you can't just walk into somebody's country or somebody's house or somebody's neighborhood and just tell them this is what you need. I mean, they know what they need, and again, they're capable of a lot. It's I think we all just need each other, though, because we do have unique skills and unique things that we bring to the table. And when we listen to each other and we let each other use the skills and abilities that we have, we can accomplish so much more together.
When did that, or how did that emerge from, something about your past had that be present, that's what you're doing? Where did that come from? Or where did you get that perspective?
That's a great question, and it's just developed, over time. I think again, I was so I've always been an achiever, and always really responsibility is important to me, and always doing the responsible thing. But again, I kind of ask myself the question, like, how is that working for me? Is that really accomplishing the best for me and for others? And so that's what I've tried to do over the years is take a step back from that and try to find out, well, why is it really that important that that I meet this deadline, or that I achieve this thing. I've found that relationships in the end are the only thing that are gonna matter, that are gonna last, and so that's where I've tried to put my focus and energy. And again, in my own personal journey, I've learned a lot about just the human brain and how it works, and the patterns that we form in our minds, and how that influences our behavior. So it gives me the ability to take a step back and see again why I'm thinking the way I'm thinking, and what others might be perceiving, and what others, how the type of patterns that they might have. I don't know if that makes any sense, or if I'm answering your question. But, yeah.
Oh no, I'm a total consciousness nerd. It is attention. It is like seeing those loops and patterns. That's the first step to evolving, is seeing them first. You got to see it. A lot of them just think it's outside of ourselves, something that's happening to us, not necessarily connected through us. Especially if you're dealing with something that our community that you're serving that's having problems right now, you're going to have that aspect. So that the fact that you're seeing it and talking about it, how does that's a deeper level than just surface, here's some money, thinking that that's going to fix the problem. You're sharing with me that this is more than just that. It's more of a connective humanity relationship building.
Right, and life is
for you.
Yeah, like you're saying, life is so much deeper than sometimes I think we see on the surface, and it's a lot more complex as well. And I want to get the most out of life, and I want to get the most out of every moment, really. And so when you're just doing to do things, and because it's on your list of things to get done, I think you're missing out on a lot.
A ton. Like right over the what's that saying? Can't see the
forest for the trees.
Yeah, that. Thank you. I was going to hot stove there for a second, but that's exactly what I was talking about. So thanks for catching me there. But how do you, the community that so you've done all these things in the world, and how did you land back where you're at now with what you're creating with your strategic consulting company? What was the bridge that got you to, hey, I'm going to start my own mission here?
Yeah, well, so I was the executive director at Great River Rescue, and very busy running that organization, and we had a lot of success, but ultimately I felt like I wanted to do more. I wanted to help others. I guess I didn't want that to be like my whole career and where I retired. So I just tried to figure out, well, what am I good at and what do I enjoy doing? What gives me energy? And doing meeting facilitation, um, doing that view from above, the seeing the forest for the trees. I do have those skills, and so through time in prayer and conversation with my wife, I started Mustful Strategic Consulting, and have used it to work with other organizations that have great missions that really want to do a lot for the community and maybe just need some outside guidance, just need to get a little bit organized with, okay, how are we doing this? Where are we going? Why are we doing this? Just really helping them answer some of those questions.
What is your challenges?
Well, there's a lot of challenges. I mean, one, it's just there's as much as I know, there's always 10 million other things that I don't know. And so it's hard to be patient with myself in the learning process. And it's hard to be patient with the organizations that I work with because it's not like it's just one person that you partner with. There's usually a board of directors. They've got all their own things going on a daily basis, and so just to get everybody together on the same page moving forward can take a long time. So I have to be patient with these organizations that I'm working with, and then it's one thing to make a strategic plan, but to actually implement it is a whole other ball of wax. And I'm still learning, like, how can I best facilitate that and help these organizations actually do what we've planned to do.
What do you find is like when you're it's like herding cats, right? It's like
yeah.
It almost makes you think. I have been thinking, like, why do we even have that system that prevents the thing from actually happening? Like they want X, but yet there's this thing, that entity or entities that all have to get what's going on in the process of making that happen, getting everybody in the same room. That is because you're probably, your mission is coming up and you're not able to fill in. Can you detect where the impatience is coming from in your own space?
I want to achieve things, and I have my own view of what an achievement is, of what that's defined as, and I want to get things done, and I have my own kind of perception of what it means to get something done. Going back to what I was talking about with relationships, there's so much that you can do in building and fostering positive relationships that isn't like a checklist item. Spending time with somebody, working through an issue with somebody, that's what builds and strengthens those relationships. And unfortunately for me internally, it naturally feels like, oh, this is a waste of time, but it's not. It's actually extremely valuable. So that's where I need to kind of check myself and help myself with that process.
What's your support system? Are you like solo in this, or do you have other people that work with you in your company?
It's a mostly solo endeavor. I did recently bring on somebody as a referral partner, and she's been really supportive of me. Her name's Hannah. She's not like an employee, but she does help me with trying to find new clients, and she's always been encouraging. In fact, she is someone that I met through an organization called the Young Professionals Network. That's part of the chamber here in Bemidji.
Yeah.
And I always loved the Young Professionals Network. I don't know if I was always a little bit older than most of the other young professionals in the group, and it actually felt like they looked up to me, they believed in me, and that's always encouraging and helpful.
They got a fire in them. There's a fire. Like, because I was, before I did this, I was in real estate for 15 years, and there was a group that was that version for realtors. And they were always had like, the innovative ideas, and they were thinking outside the box. And I'm like, back then it was like, you just haven't met what it's really like yet. So it's like, there's the people that got sort of cynical to life, for lack of a better word. And then there's that young that's got the vision and the fire, and wants to cut through all of that stuff. So there's just always that big mix. But I think it's great to see, great to be around as well. We all need different perspectives around us so that we don't get fixed.
Well, yeah, and we need encouragement. There are definitely people that support you only in as much as it helps them. It helps them get to whatever their motivation is. And that's okay. That's the way it's always going to be. But to have people that are genuinely just behind you, they care about you. They're not just going to tell you what you want to hear. That's just invaluable to have those people. And so I definitely have that in my network. I've got my wife and family, and I've got a church family as well that help me. And they also accept me, for who I am, because I make tons of mistakes, as we all do.
Human, yay!
Yeah. And when you got people that are ready and willing to forgive you and just like gently redirect you, that's always helpful.
And it's beautiful though. That's community. That's like I think it's missing. It's like it's the thing that connects all of us together. That connects our humanity.
Yeah, and then for some reason we're so prone to just blame others. It's just, I don't know why we enjoy it so much, but it doesn't help. So I don't know why we do it.
Yeah, it's like taking our own power away.
Yeah.
Yeah, So I'm fascinated by what you hear from the people that you're serving. Like, what are some things, because, we're all in our businesses, people tell us all the stuff. Like, what are they telling you about this time that we're living in, this extraordinary space that, where blues, green, and reds, yellow, and nothing makes any sense anymore for a lot of people. What's your take on that? What your feedback? What are you hearing from people that you're serving?
I think I hear that there's just a lack of control. Like people just feel like they have no control over anything. They have no idea what the future's going to bring. Next week, next month, next year could be extremely different than what we expect. And so I do hear a lot of, well, what's the point? Why do we even plan? We don't know what's going to happen. So I really try to encourage folks that, okay, you're right. There are many, many things that we can't control, but there's an abundance of things that we can control. And that, going back to power, that gives you power, and it gives you hope. And that doesn't disappoint. That's what we need. And so I try to kind of redirect their thoughts to hope.
What's the outcomes of that? Like, can you see? Because it's like we're swimming in it, and on some level, some of the things that are breaking down, maybe it's I'm a firm believer in my own life that everything happens for a specific reason, even though I can't see it in that moment. Everything that I've ever looked back that looked insurmountable at the time, in retrospective, I see that it's literally if it didn't happen exactly the way that it unfolded, I wouldn't be here with the gifts that I have right now. So how do you ever incorporate, because you said it before, like we all have our different perspectives, and as a consultant, you're dealing with those, even though we think we don't really talk about that out loud. Does that ever come into play with you when you're dealing with people, building those relationships and creating trust?
Yeah, that's the most valuable part of the process of strategic planning, is the learning that takes place. There is conflict in it, but if it's managed properly, it's a healthy conflict that brings better results, that builds those stronger relationships. Unfortunately, sometimes, it feels like we're still not getting anywhere. It feels like we're spinning our wheels and we're really not achieving what we want to achieve. But that's not what we should be focused on. What these organizations and what I encourage them to focus on is what we do have, what we can do, what we are building, who we are as people, the relationships that we have with each other, and that at least in the process of doing the planning, all of my clients are encouraged and they feel like it was a worthwhile endeavor. Now, does it suddenly alleviate world hunger? No. World hunger still exists, and wars still exist, and budget cuts still exist. But I think we exist with that together, right? We're doing it together, and there is, again, hope and solace in that.
Yeah. And that strategic planning comes in because we're talking about something or around something that's pretty powerful. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. So that thing, that ideal that we had about, the certainty of, you do this, you work for X amount of years for a company, and then you retire, and then you like this ideal of it. That's been disrupted so many different times that there's none of that actually even there anymore. And then you have multiple generations piled on top of each other that all have different perspectives, and it just turns into a big soup. So out of that illusion that we all used to live under, that it's just this white horse and everything's going to work out in the end and all of that stuff, to where do we play a role in creating or co-creating what the next thing is? Like, that it's not just happening to us, that it's happening through us in some way. Do you ever bring that into the mix, or does that ever even come up?
I think of it
like our own empowerment in that,
Yeah, I mean, I think
sense?
of it in terms of like a pity party, right? Like, we can sit around and have a pity party, but it's not going to change anything. The things that we're worried about aren't going to get any better. So we have to look in ourselves and again, what can we control? What can we do? What plans can we make? While understanding that they have to be flexible, because next month, when what we think was going to happen changes, we can still look to our plan, but make adjustments as we go. Just like anything that we do in life. You could be baking a pie or something, and it turns out you don't have the right ingredient.
Yeah.
And so then you think, well, what are my options here? I can replace it with applesauce, or I can go to the neighbor's house, or I can, whatever. You look at, okay, what are my options to deal with this so that I can move forward and still make a pie that's going to work, for everybody. That's kind of a silly illustration, but
it's actually perfect. Yeah, it is. Like going with the flow and having the twists and turns of everything not have to be such a traumatic experience, when we can let go just a little bit of the that there's life and energy flowing through all of us, and it's trying to come through. So we may not be able to have our own unique person. It's just so hard for us to see our own stuff and get out of the way. So that's why having people like you in our lives pointing out, being a mirror for each other, but then you're doing it inside of a community that has a lot of people in it. It's like all of us trying to figure out how to work together the most efficiently, because I think we all have that urge to like get her done and like have it be behind us. But the reality is, it's here in our now all of the time. It's something we're going to have to get used to, creating life in a different way.
And things just aren't going to go the way that we want them to. And it's funny because we understand that in little things in life, but when it comes to like organizational life, it just stops us in our tracks, and we have to get past that if we're going to achieve. If we're going to fulfill our mission. We're never going to achieve everything that we wish we could, I think. But that doesn't mean that we can't achieve a lot, or even there could be other outcomes that we didn't even anticipate that are beneficial,
that are still in alignment with the mission.
Right.
Yeah. It's like the confusion between the mission and the outcomes of the mission are, I think we have a tendency to make those outcomes the mission, right, and those are just a result of it.
Yep.
So, but staying true to the mission. So where are you at in your own evolution of your mission? Like if you could say, what space are you in relationship to the mission that you started with, and where is that now?
I think I'm working on my own clarity. Ironically, that's what I want to help bring to other organizations. So where am I going? How am I going to get there? I'm trying to figure that out as I go as well. And in that journey, though, I recognize a ton of learning is happening, and I really value that. And ultimately, I have to connect with others and help them see the value in the service that I can provide. So right now, that's kind of the realm that I'm in is how do I show the return on investment? In business, that's kind of one of the key terms, and even with nonprofits as well. Like their funding is limited; it's very valuable. So we need to see what the results that can come from working with somebody like you,
and making sure that is in alignment with everything that's going on. That's really key. So you're just not. I'm talking about something. It's like I think people think if I just especially now, like this time of the year, it's like put the money in the kettle, like throw money at it. But I think it's increasingly becoming aware for all of us that money's not the thing that glues us together. It's the thing that separated us. So like there has to be. There's a saying that's coming to me. It's like the solutions that we get in life are never ever on the same level of consciousness in which they were created. And I think what you're doing is you're stirring the pot to get that out of that realm and that level of awareness into that next space where it's okay to not have it figured out, because how can you when you're dealing with something new and giving ourselves that grace and trusting in whatever we call our higher power to help with the rest of it, and like show up every day and stay in alignment and keep getting in tighter alignment.
Yeah, and I think "I don't know" is a very powerful phrase. So how are we going to do this? I don't know.
Yeah, but after that, there's a relief. And it's like, okay, now how can I look at this and be curious instead of let's fix it? Because that's really what happens is we want to fix it. That's where that impatience comes from. Is like, I want this suffering to end over here, or this thing to be resolved over here.
And it opens more possibilities, because forget fix it. Who cares about fixing it?
Yeah.
We're going to do it better. We're going to make it better. We're going to do something that hasn't been done.
Yes. So that's like, oh, you did it. This is it. So when it's all collapsing, it can look this way and it look like it's all going down the toilet, or you can look at it as like an opportunity from a blank space and pause and really think about how this, or get curious about how this can be better, serve everybody better. Like you already know all the points. Like, let's fix this organization that it can act in a timely manner to produce the result that they want to produce. Like, how strategic would that be? But instead of most people just go, the system is the system, and we just got to work around the system. But it's okay. Every once in a while, we can say the system just sucks, and we can create a new one without having the old one to have to be, collapsing. Because it's just, we're human beings, and we like things to be. But life happens when that gets pulled out from underneath you and you get to actually live. And
we get stuck in that system. That's a good word for it. And it's just like, why don't we reinvent? Why don't we do a new system, a different system? Let's try it. What's the worst that could happen?
Yeah, any attempt would probably make it a little bit better, and we could just keep doing it and keep doing it. And
guess what? You'll learn from it, even if it doesn't work. Well, now you know what doesn't work.
Absolutely, 1,000%. So we're closing out 2025 here, and so what do you got kicking? What's exciting you about the beginning of next year? Not a resolution or anything like that, but just is there something that's inside that's authentic that I'm curious about exploring and expanding next year?
I don't know. That's a really tough question. Maybe I'll have to be thinking about that for the next few weeks because we got a little time before 2026. Um, I know what I've learned a lot about what I'm good at, what I excel at, what gives me energy, and my goal is to spend my time doing those things. And I don't know that's the maybe the greatest thing. That we were just talking about the words I don't know. I have no idea how that's going to play out. Um, but I'm going to spend my time working on allowing me to be who I'm made to be.
That's it. That's going to solve a lot of problems right there. So, yeah, that's a lot of solutions that happen inside of that conversation, and an amazing journey. And why not be excited about that? Because when you're whole, everything else just works so much better, and it just kicks it to the next level. So, wow, this is really cool. I appreciate you having this conversation with me today. I always like to have you leave our listeners with a little nugget of wisdom. So, if somebody's listening to this and they feel unsure about them taking the next step in their life, maybe they worked in corporate, maybe they've had this vision in the back of their head for a long time that they want to serve in a new way, what would you tell them?
Things are, I mean, it's kind of what we talked about a little earlier. Things are never going to go quite how you plan, but that's what makes it an adventure. That's what makes it fun. Go with it, roll with it, learn from it, make the most of every moment, and again, it's not going to go the way you think, but it might be way better, way different, way more fulfilling than you ever thought possible.
And it's worth it. It's worth
Definitely.
it. It's worth it. Like whatever that angst is, it's never going to go away. So you just might as well just act on top of it and just like go for the thing that a lot of times it's opposite world. It's the thing that you think you would never have done or the thing that would have never happened. But that thing, when it does, that's the doorway. The thing that scares you the most, run to it. So, but it's just always nice to acknowledge that whenever something does change, then absolutely you're going to feel super uncomfortable, and it's okay. And find other people to be uncomfortable with. That's the thing that I have found, that I don't have to hide that anymore. That it's okay to talk about it and normalize all of the bumps and everything that happens whenever we take our life from here and have the courage to take it to the next level. So I appreciate you sharing with us today the courage that it took to do what you're doing right now and continuing to do it. I appreciate your wisdom that you share with everybody today.
Well, yeah, thanks for connecting with me and giving me the opportunity to talk about it. I really appreciate you.
Thank you. It's my mission to have this conversation with people that are around there creating something meaningful, and I just think it's very valuable to talk about the aspect of our lives that has nonprofits in it, that are out there, entities trying to help somebody. And as we all evolve ourselves and our systems, just have compassion and space for it to actually allow it to happen. Yay. And we're doing it with a conversation. That's what the whole point of this podcast is. And I thank you guys so much for tuning in today and listening to our conversation. If you're sitting at home, think of somebody, call them up, and have a conversation. It might just change your whole day. It changed mine. We'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.